Hello, and thanks for joining us today on this lovely spring day of 2024 for a conversation and presentation with Professors Kristin Kiesel and Rich Sexton. I am Emiliano Escobedo, and I am the Executive Director of the Hass Avocado Board. And if you haven't already done so, please make sure to click the subscribe button that's on the screen so you can get the latest webinars from the Hass Avocado Board. Also with me today is my colleague, John McGuigan. He's the Director of Industry Affairs. And today we're thrilled to welcome you to a discussion that promises to shed light on the great impact of the research and promotion programs that are conducted under the Hass Avocado Board from 2018 to 2022. John?
Good morning, Emiliano. Good morning, guests. Our guests today are two distinguished professors from the University of California at Davis, whose independent evaluation offers valuable insights into our programs. So just to share a little bit of background on what got us here today, during most of 2023, Professors Kiesel and Sexton, along with PhD students Jaiwei Gao and Stematina Kotsakau, performed an independent evaluation of our promotion programs under the auspices of the Hass Avocado Board for the period of 2018 through 2022, as Emiliano mentioned. They're here today to present key market trends for fresh avocados sold in the United States, to highlight from the qualitative review of the promotional programs by HAB, the importer associations, and the California Avocado Commission, as well as the results of the quantitative evaluation of the Hass Avocado promotion and marketing programs.
Thank you. And well, we want to welcome Kristin and Rich. We are honored to have you here with us today. Just to get us started, perhaps you can share just a quick rundown of your background and your professional history. Kristin, you want to go first?
Yes, gladly. Thank you for having us. And as both Emiliano and John already mentioned, our team here at UC Davis has completed the most recent 5-year evaluation of the Hass Avocado Board's promotion programs. I am an associate professor in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics here at UC Davis. I teach a variety of classes, including marketing and cooperative business enterprises that include the coverage of marketing orders and marketing boards. And I hope that my research contributes to a better understanding of consumer behavior and increases in the effectiveness of policy interventions aimed at nudging consumers towards healthier and more sustainable food choices. I have developed a particular emphasis in analyzing the effectiveness of labeling policies and the economics of advertising and marketing more broadly. And my research in this area has been published in a number of peer-reviewed top field journals. You might have already detected an accent. I'm originally from Germany, completed a master's in communication there, then came to the US, completed another master's in applied and agricultural resource economics in Montana State before getting my PhD in Berkeley. I was fortunate enough to stay in California, complete a postdoc at Stanford and UC Berkeley, then a professorship at Sacramento State before I started here at UC Davis in 2015, where I've had the pleasure to continuously work with my colleague, Rich Sexton, that has been one of my mentors throughout my career.
Thank you for sharing. That's very impressive. How about you, Rich?
Well, thank you, Emiliano and John, for organizing this event. And Kristin, thank you for your kind remarks. And so, yes, I'm a professor at UC Davis in the Department of Agricultural and Resource Economics, along with Kristin. And I'm actually a native Minnesotan. I grew up on a small dairy farm there in Minnesota and did my all of my formal education in Minnesota before coming to UC Davis actually in 1984. So I've been here a good long while, and my research during this period is focused on a wide range of California agricultural commodities, but with a particular focus on California's perennial tree crops, almonds, pistachios, avocados, of course, and it's been my honor and pleasure to be part of the team that's conducted each of the 5-year reviews of the Hass Avocado Board that have been done over its life. And it's a real honor to be able to talk to you today about the most recent study that we completed.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. And you're right. You know, you have been involved in these 5-year evaluations, which, just for the audience to know, they are mandatory 5-year evaluations that happen every 5 years. And so Rich Sexton and the team at UC Davis has been involved in all of them since the beginning of the Hass Avocado Board. So those are really impressive credentials from both of you, and I am sure that our audience will truly appreciate your invaluable contributions. Professors Kiesel and Sexton, I will now turn it over to you for your presentation, and then we will come back for a Q&A session. So if you want to go ahead and share your screen, we'll get going.
Yes, can I just confirm that you can see the screen okay?
Yep.
Yep.
You're all set.
Well, thank you. And let me start here with a brief overview of what we are covering today. One of the themes in my research is consumers' limited attention focus. And so we will brief today and share main findings only, starting with a quick overview of key market trends in the fresh avocado industry. I will then share key findings from our qualitative analysis and review of HABs and the association's promotions and marketing programs before I hand it over to Rich for a summary of our quantitative analysis and evaluation. And we also budgeted time at the end to answer questions that Emiliano and John will be asking on your behalf here today. So let me start with a quick summary of the trends observed in the fresh avocado market. The Hass Avocado Board was created in 2022 following the passage of the federal authorizing legislation and approval of a referendum by domestic producers and importers, and we have seen substantial growth in per capita consumption of fresh avocados in the United States since then. To put these market trends in perspective, prior to the creation of the Hass Avocado Board during the decade of the 1990s, fresh avocado consumption was relatively flat, averaging 1.6 pounds per capita. The first 5-year review documented that consumption rose to 3.1 pounds per capita. During the second evaluation, consumption rose to 4.3 pounds per capita, then further rising to 6.7. And finally, we find an average consumption level of 8.3 pounds per capita in our last evaluation here. Beginning in 1997, the US market also gradually opened to imports of Hass avocados, and Mexico has gradually come to dominate the US market, with 79.4% of fresh avocados sold coming from Mexico. Shipments from California comprised 12.4% of the market on average, while Peru further expanded its share to 7.2%, and Chile and Colombia each supplied less than 1% of the market in our review period. A quick look at the data further shows quite conclusively that this expansion has been achieved primarily through demand stimulation, and that grower prices received continue to increase during this period. This is true for both California producer prices as well as for importer prices. The figure on the left here depicts annual per capita consumption of fresh avocados in the United States, along with the California producer price, while the figure on the right depicts importer prices. The linear trend line added indicates that grower prices, despite considerable year-to-year volatility, have increased on average over the lifespan of HAB at a rate of 1.16 cents per year, and these are inflation-adjusted prices. Let's see where we are. The majority of funds used to promote the Hass avocado consumption in the US are generated through the Hass Avocado Promotion, Research and Information Order and mandatory program assessments of 2.5 cents per pound on all avocados sold in the US. HAB uses 15% of these assessment revenues to fund generic activities, including nutrition and market research and information programs, aimed at uncovering and communicating informative and educational messages to key audiences and influencers. The board's commitment to fund nutrition research and disseminate findings widely began in earnest in 2011 when it's allocated $1 million to support nutrition research. These expenditures more than doubled in 2012. During this review period, have increased its expenses once more, and spending increased to 2.5 million annually on average. These investments, as well as the investments in promotion and marketing research, continue to allow HAB and its members association to effectively leverage science and create unique, consistent, and simple messages that have driven the long-term growth of Hass avocado demand. The developed level 1 to tail positioning scheme continues to provide consumers with a clear call to action and trusted messaging of health benefits. Worth mentioning here is that Hass communicates indirectly to consumers through strategic outreach and public relation efforts that engage influencers and media personnel, who then communicate these insights to consumers. Of particular value is the strategy and the insight developed that consumers trust health professionals more than industry and government representatives, and HAB uses health professionals and dietitians as key influencers and brand advocates that then can offer expert advice to consumers and effectively communicate those benefits. Notably, during the review period, HAB also established BOLD, an educational program that trains emerging leaders in the industry and includes a visit here at UC Davis, and HAB established the Hass Avocado Sustainability Center that can serve as a provider of sustainability research data and information for the avocados industry. In summary, the efforts of the board provide a strong foundation for the more targeted promotion and marketing efforts of the member association and allow the industry to speak in one voice when creating top-of-mind brand recognition. So here we see the distribution of the funds in general. 15%, as mentioned, used to the efforts by the board. The remaining 85% of the assessment revenue are then rebated in proportion of the revenue generated to the member organizations, the California Avocado Commission, and the 4 certified importer associations, the Chilean Avocado Importer Association, the Colombian Avocado Board, the Mexican Hass Avocado Importers Association, and the Peruvian Avocado Commission. These member associations utilize the funds to promote Hass avocado consumption in the United States by promoting unique and flavorful eating experience that offer health, environmental, and societal benefit. I won't have time to go into detail here, but hopefully I will succeed in highlighting each of these efforts very briefly. CAB, the newest certifier association that became a member in 2020, focused during this review period on website design, establishing a logo and presence at trade shows that then can build strategic retail and food service partnership and develop messaging around their positioning theme, discovering a new avocado world. CAG continues its efforts to promote superior freshness, health, and sustainability of avocados grown in California to consumers primarily on the West Coast. Most mentioning here a strategic partnership in the food service and restaurant channel that then effectively promote messages and reach consumers. And here, Kaya's primary markets are located also in the Western cities, with select cities in Eastern and Western Central regions as a secondary market. Their messaging capitalizes the natural greenery and beauty of the country, emphasizing what we have here as a positioning theme, a land rich in soil, sunshine, and spirit. AFM focuses on the primary target audience, the market segment identified as HAB, active Generation X, primary female consumers that are more affluent. to promote via their retail promotions or pursue a share of wallet growth strategy. But unlike other member associations, is also able to reach a broader mainstream audience through their TV presence, Super Bowl, for instance. And they communicate they're always good in season and always fun positioning scene. PAC then here concentrated its efforts on the summer months due to the seasonality and primarily Eastern market to communicate their positioning theme of Eat Healthy, Live Green. Their brand promotions and pricing strategies aims at reaching consumers at all ages, including millennials and Generation Z. It's worth pointing out that in this review period, more generally, we saw an increase in the use of influencer and social media marketing, capturing consumer attention via positive, personally related message, integrated and multi-channel messaging. And then we also saw an increase in the use of price promotion. So let me wrap up here and conclude that our qualitative analysis confirms that the promotion of health benefits and flavorful eating experience under the authority of Hass raised awareness and continually stimulated avocado demand in impressive and unprecedented ways. We see that fresh avocado consumption in the US has risen by 260% over the lifespan of HAB. If we compare that, the fruit category overall has only grown by 9% over the same period, to give you a perspective here. Despite this rapid growth of fresh avocado consumption in the United States, we believe that there continues to be considerable growth potential, especially in light of the significant disparities in per capita consumption and the uneven distribution of consumption levels across key demographic groups as well as geographic markets. Finally, it's worth mentioning that the expansion of Hass avocado sales and increased consumption has also led to a closer scrutiny of the production processes, and consumers and advocates have voiced concerns about water usage, potential negative environmental and social economic effects of avocado productions in the communities where avocados are grown. While many of those concerns are not unique to avocado production and singling out avocado producers, it is not justified here. Even misguided beliefs can have significant effects on food purchases, and our evaluation focuses or points out HAB's efforts to broaden its research and promotion efforts to explicitly include sustainability as an additional priority. We conclude that in our view that these expenditures and the continuous investment in the promotion of health, environmental, and societal benefit of avocado consumption are not only essential in ensuring the perception, the positive imaging of the assistant consumers, but also a way to reach new demographic, including younger audiences. And I'm realizing here that I skipped one slide in my presentation, so we can go back maybe in our answer, and I can go over that, or I can do it here.
Go ahead and go back to it and then talk about it if you want to. Was it given just general overview of the landscape? Yeah.
So the slide that I skipped, and it puts that in context, and it works both at the beginning and at the end, is here the general trend. So put the efforts into the perspective in terms of discussing key factors driving US food demand in general, because those key factors contribute to an understanding of purchase motivations and build the important foundation that can aid HAB, its member association, and then also marketing agents in the industry in designing and executing effective marketing and promotion programs. So a couple of things here to mention. Consumers on average spent 11.3% of their disposable incomes in 2022. That amounts to $2.36 trillion on food. And those budget shares have been relatively stable since the 1980s. So not a lot of move there, other than the first disruptive months of COVID, where we saw a decrease in food service. It's also worth mentioning that although higher income households spend a smaller share of their disposable income on food, the spending is more than 3 times the amount of the spending in lower income quartiles. During COVID, some consumers improved their cooking and baking skills and experimented with new recipes during that time. Some of you might have started baking bread, for instance, as a big trend there, but convenience remains the primary determinant of food purchases across all income levels. Especially for middle and high income consumers, perceived health benefits continue to be an important purchase driver, but consumers have also become more concerned about where, by whom, and how their food is produced. The majority of these value-added health and sustainability qualities are credence attributes, however, meaning that differences in product quality can not be verified directly or experienced by consumers and need to be communicated via labels and claims. Numerous studies suggest that consumers are willing to pay more for products that brand themselves as healthier and more sustainable, but safety concerns, a desire to try something new, and consumers' increased price sensitivity can either reinforce health and sustainability messaging or compete for consumers' limited attention. Consumers often state that they value accurate information provision and transparency, but they also need to process that information provided and then draw to conclusions that ultimately allow them to improve their food choices going forward. Their subjective information processing costs will vary depending on their prior knowledge and lived experiences. And as a result, consumers are often most attentive to claims that are specific, communicate immediate benefits, are easily accessible and intuitively understood. Perhaps price promotions are most effectively capturing consumers' attention at point of sales, and consumers have become relatively more price sensitive or value conscious during the pandemic. This contributes to what's often called the vote-buy gap, and the findings that actual food purchase don't always reflect stated preferences. So this is what I intended to present prior to going into the detail of the HAB and the association's efforts, but I think it also works really well as putting these in context, and that will get me back of handing it over here to my colleague, Rich Sexton, for the quantitative analysis.
Thank you, Kristin. So it's my pleasure to present the quantitative evaluation of the Hass Avocado Board's promotion programs. And so, Kristin, if you'll move forward, please, with the slides. So in our quantitative evaluation, we are working with retail scanner data that is collected by a firm called Circana that's specialized in this activity. They work with retailers to acquire it. And then the Hass Avocado Board purchases the data from Circana and actually makes it available on its website. So not only researchers like myself and Kristin can use it, but anyone in the industry who wants to make use of these data has access to them. And so the data that we're utilizing to conduct the quantitative evaluation consists of the total weekly sales and the value of those sales across all Hass Avocado PLU and UPC codes from the period of 2018 to 22, the 5-year evaluation period that we're studying. And we're focusing on 8 regional market areas as defined by Circana. And so their data coverage is very comprehensive. It includes most grocery stores, mass merchandisers such as Target and Walmart, club stores such as Costco, dollar stores, some drugstores, and even some military commissaries. Notably, food service is not part of this data set, and it's not part of our formal analysis. And then in order to match the Circana data with the data that was supplied to us by the member associations on their promotion activities, we're aggregating the weekly information to monthly to match that data on promotion expenditures. So we formulated a statistical model, and in which case we're trying to correlate per capita consumption in each of these 8 regions in each of the 60 months in the 5-year review period as a function of the promotion activities conducted by the Hass member associations in each of the regions in each of the months. And then beyond the promotions, we need to also, to have a well-specified model, include other variables that we know will affect consumption. And so in particular, we want to include the average price per avocado in each region in each month. So that's part of the model. And then we also add what we call control variables to account for other factors that would affect demand that wouldn't be otherwise formally included in the model. Most important among these variables is a variable to account for month of the year. We know fresh Hass avocado consumption has a seasonal component. And then we're also adding variables to account for each year in the 5-year review period, particularly important for this review period because it includes COVID, which disrupted everything, and then the aftermath period, which was still a period of flux for consumption of many commodities. Kristin? So just a few statistics that are interesting in their own right from the Circana data. So what you're seeing on your screens now is the mean per capita Hass avocados sold per month in each of these 8 regions as defined by Circana. And so you see California is its own region, but then the other states are lumped together into these 7 other regions. And very notable here is the variation in per capita consumption. So the West is the biggest consumer of fresh Hass avocados at 0.75 per month in the Western region. You can see California itself is very high as well at 0.63. But then notice other parts of the country are considerably lower, and the lowest being the Great Lakes region at 0.33 avocados, so well less than half of what the West is consuming. You also see quite a bit of variation in the average sales price. Hass avocados are least expensive in the South Central region, for example, Texas. They're quite expensive indeed here in California, and then in the east and north, reflecting the higher costs of moving avocados from the south to the north. Kristin? Here is just a bar chart showing the variation in per capita consumption by month across these 8 regions. So again, we see the West being very high, the Great Lakes and other Midwestern areas being relatively low. Kristin? So here now is the key results of our statistical model. I don't want to take us into the weeds of this analysis, and if you're interested in that, our full report is available on the Hass Avocado Board's website, and you can see it there. Just a couple of highlights here. The red numbers you see measure how per capita consumption is responding to the price of a Hass avocado. And what those numbers are telling us is certainly the higher the price, the less the consumption. That's the negative number. But it's telling us that the demand is relatively unresponsive to price. So for example, a 10% increase in price, according to our estimates, is going to reduce sales by about 7 to 8%. And the stars tell us that these numbers are what we call statistically significant. It indicates the accuracy with which we're measuring these effects. And then very importantly, for purposes of the evaluation, we also see the blue numbers showing us that the Hass avocado promotion expenditures significantly expanded demand as well. The stars indicate that effect is statistically significant. And in essence, it's telling us that, say, a 10% increase in promotion expenditures in a region in a month is going to increase the sales from about 0.6 to 0.9%. Kristin. Now, here are these month effects, and they're interesting in their own right. So now, for statistical reasons, we have to drop 1 month, and the month we dropped was January. So effectively, January 0 on this chart. but then we can see the seasonality that's there in consumption. So the biggest month for consumption is May. And of course, it has Cinco de Mayo and Mother's Day. And the lowest consumption month is November. But in general, we see that summer months are high and the winter months are low. So probably no surprise to people who are familiar with the industry. But the seasonality here is quite extreme. So 39% more per capita consumption in the high month, May, than the low month, November. Kristin? And here is the annual effects. And so all of these changes that you see here are relative to the first year of the review period, 2018, which effectively is the 0 year. And then we see the retail consumption rising over the 5-year review period. There's a jump in 2020. That's when we were shut down due to COVID. And so hardly any food service expenditures then. So retail is higher. Drops a little bit down then in 2021 when things started to open up and we could go to restaurants again, and then rising again in 2022. So you see the increasing sales of fresh Hass avocados at retail in the US over this review period. Kristin? So the rubber meets the road here when we do the benefit cost analysis, right? Because as Kristin pointed out, the industry is paying 2.5 cents per pound to an assessment to generate funds to promote fresh Hass avocado consumption in the U.S. And so the real question, the bottom line of the evaluation study is, did these promotion expenditures generate benefits in excess of the cost so that they added on net to the profitability of the industry? And again, the framework that we use to do this is laid out in great detail in our full report. For those who are interested in it, I recommend it to you. I'm just going to give you the bottom line. Kristin, if you can forward, please. So the bottom line is right here in this little table. One of the pieces of information that we have to have that wasn't part of our specific analysis is how supply responds to higher prices. And we measure that with what we call the supply elasticity. We chose 3 alternative values to consider, with the mid-range value highlighted in red on your screen being our best estimate. And that's just simply saying, if you raise prices to growers and shippers by 10%, they'll supply 10% more avocados to the market. But what you see there in the right-hand column is the bottom line. So that at our best estimate, the benefit cost ratio of the promotion programs over this 5-year period was about 2.5 to 1. So every dollar generated from the industry in terms of assessments yielded a return to industry members of about $2.5. And that's a great return on investment. I certainly wish I could get that kind of return on my own investments. But even if we try the different supply elasticity numbers that we think could be plausible, the benefit cost ratios remain substantially above 1. And so, we're very confident in our bottom line conclusion that over this 5-year review period, that the activities of the Hass Avocado Board yielded returns to the industry significantly over and above the amount of money that was raised to support the activities of the Hass Avocado Board. And so that's a summary of our analysis. And Kristin and I would be happy to answer any questions, John, that you and Emiliano might have.
Thank you so much, Professor Kristin. If you could please unmute yourself so that we can hear you as we have this discussion. First of all, that was a great presentation and a great summary of the evaluation. And as you stated correctly, the full report will be available, and it's available on our website on hassavocadoboard.com. It's a pretty lengthy report, but it's really interesting for those of you that like the numbers and want to know the details. It's a great report, so I encourage all of you to go see this report. I have one question for you, Professor Kiesel, and then I'll turn it over to John for his question. And so my question for you is, for the typical avocado stakeholders, those producers and importers that have been paying the HAB assessment and who will be listening to this presentation and reading the report, what is the main takeaway from your analysis, and what are perhaps one or two take-home messages that they should keep in mind as they try to make sense of how their contributions to this program, to the Hass Avocado Board, and to the respective associations have helped them and the rest of the industry just succeed and stay in business in this for this product?
Thank you, Emiliano. Thank you for this question. Yes, so as I illustrated here with this quick review, and we have a lot more detail in the report, and I hope I was able to show is really that the joint efforts of the HAB and the associations focusing on health benefits and increasing consumption of medium to heavy avocados consumers, or this identified target audience of Generation X, more affluent, largely female avocado consumers, and increasing the consumption of those existing consumers have been an incredibly effective growth strategy. And the marketing efforts and promotion programs have continued to this unprecedented growth, 260% increase as compared to growth that we've seen in the industry, but kind of that effective advertising and marketing and promotion is both creative and forward-looking, and so that it also creatively addresses the challenges. So some of the challenges of the perceptions in terms of health benefits in the past, and so if we forward-looking, as I already mentioned, that means that the HABs and its members associations need to continue to look for innovative ways to inspire and educate consumers to be able to remain the positive messaging and potentially alter some of the perceptions that consumers forming with regard to sustainability. So that really means that promoting health, but also environmental and societal benefits of avocado consumption will not be only essential in ensuring the positive perceptions of the existing focused target segments, but also key to reach new market segments, new key demographics, so including younger audiences and demographic markets which showed us in his report that avocado consumption is lower than in some of the primary markets that we've seen addressed by the associations.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the things that jumped at me when you were presenting, and I was glad that you picked up on it, is because it's intentional, is the Hass Avocado Board really focuses on, the category as a whole, and the associations really focus on promoting their brand. But one of the things that we do is we collaborate to make sure that we do the programs and the investments in the areas that we know the associations will be able to leverage as well. So like the nutrition research work, helps everybody have a stronger health and wellness message associated with their country of origin brand. Same thing with the data. We do a lot of the work on the data, which is generic, that helps everybody put forward promotions or category management strategies that will help them and so on. And that's the idea with, bold and sustainability. We want to bring industry leaders into the industry to participate and lead the future of this organization, and on sustainability, address the collective challenges together, because that's the model that we've seen that works is this collaborative model. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. John, let's turn it over to you for your question.
Great, thanks, Emiliano. So Rich, I've got a question for you. Number one, thank you for that quantitative analysis and giving us the bottom line where the rubber meets the road. It was very, very interesting, the results of the last 5 years. Now, you mentioned up front that you and your team have done a number of these analyses over the years, and I want to get your expert input because you're an avocado expert now over these 20 years. And I really want to think about looking at the industry, this industry of ours looking forward. So I have a little bit of a two-part question here. I want your opinion on, do you think that the industry should continue this investment in building the market for fresh avocados in the United States? Do you think that that's a good strategy moving forward? And number two, do you feel confident that the marketplace could and will continue to grow and absorb more volume without depressing prices moving into the future? And if you believe that, tell us why you believe that.
Thanks, John, for that question. Yes, I do think that the industry should continue the investment, because even though the Hass avocado consumption in the U.S. has expanded dramatically over the life of the Hass Avocado Board, as Kristin demonstrated in her overview, I think there is still room for significant demand growth and, frankly, a need to grow the market because of the likelihood that supplies to the U.S. market will continue to expand. So our analysis, as Kristin showed, indicates that real prices received by California farmers and importers have increased steadily over the life of the Hass Avocado Board, but continued growth in prices received will hinge upon growing demand at least as fast as the pace of supply growth. And so, again, the bottom line of our analysis, and this has been true across the 4 studies that we've done over 5-year studies over the life of the Hass Avocado Board, is that the programs of the board have yielded a substantial benefit to growers and importers in excess of the cost. So if anything, an investment could be expanded and certainly shouldn't be diminished. And so I see a number of areas where the market can be expanded significantly. First is a significant regional variation in consumption in the U.S. that I noted in our presentation. Per capita consumption in some parts of the country is less than half of what it is in the Western U.S. And there's no reason, in my view, that consumption can't be growing significantly in these regions, and it represents, frankly, a significant untapped potential. And second, I think, is the extreme seasonality in fresh Hass avocado consumption. So as I noted, per capita consumption is 39% higher in May than it is in November. And I get that fresh avocados are a great summer food, but I think through promotions, the industry can make them a great choice for fall and winter events and parties such as at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so I think that seasonality gap can be diminished a lot through the industry's marketing efforts. And then finally, is the third thing is demographics. They didn't play a big role in our current study, but we know that Hass avocado consumption varies greatly across demographic groups, with Hispanic Latino populations being particularly heavy users. But I think the industry has great potential to increase Hass avocado consumption within other demographic groups.
Well, I think that gives us, our audience of avocado industry members, optimism for the future. So I like that optimistic approach. And I think that we continue to invest and continue to grow and continue to move everything forward. And I think that's a great view to take. Thank you.
My pleasure, John.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with your analysis also, because we look at the regions, the months, like you said, the demographics. You know, when you look, even break it down by household consumption, there are households that are consuming 4 times the national average, you know, and there are still a lot of households that are not even buying avocados at all. And so you looked at this, your evaluation really looked at retail, because that's where we have the data, right? But we know there's this other segment has fueled tremendous demand for our industry, which is food service. And that is, there's no data there. You can't tell how many avocados, you know, all these restaurants are buying and stuff, but we do see that the out-of-home purchases have definitely increased as well as the in-home purchases. So we're very excited with the results of this analysis. And I want to thank you both for your comprehensive responses and your presentation. It's been truly enlightening discussion, and we're really grateful for your contributions. With that, we're going to bring this webinar to a close. Once again, a genuine thank you to our speakers and to all of you that are joining us online and watching this recording. Please make sure you go to the Hass Avocado Board website and look for the report. It's a comprehensive report, and you'll be able to not only see this last review, but the previous ones as well. so that you can look at the extensive work that has been done by UC Davis to evaluate these programs over time. And lastly, please remember to subscribe to our channel so that you can get notified whenever new webinars and videos get posted on YouTube. So Professor Kristin and Professors Rich, Sexton, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you soon as you help us training our future leaders through our BOLD program. And John, thanks again for your participation as well. So until next time, please take care and goodbye.